Hello, my name is John Brink, and we are podcasting today on the Brink from Prince George, the capital of northern British Columbia, and an absolutely beautiful region. Prince George is about, for those that are watching from far away, it's about 800 kilometers north of Vancouver and smack in the center of British Columbia. And today we have a special guest. Her name is Terri McConnachie. And Terri, welcome to the program.
Thank you, John. It's really an honor to be here.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to have you. Tell us a little bit about your past. Are you from this region or?
Actually, I was born, well, I was going to be cheeky, but I was born in Chilliwack, actually, in 65. And my folks had met in a small town of Lillooet where they went to high school and grew up. And I'm one of those babies that was born where my mom had to go away to another community.
Okay.
So I was born in Chilliwack as a result. So when she went to, as the proverbial, take care of a sick aunt and then came home with a baby.
Right.
So times have changed, right, John? Times have changed.
Yeah.
So.
And so you lived in Chilliwack for?
No, was just born there and was raised in Lillooet for a few years.
Right.
Lived in Giscombe for a few years, went to Giscombe Elementary School. Really small town girl, really. Prince George is the big city in comparison to some of the places that I've lived.
So like Chilliwack is in the Lower Mainland, close to Vancouver.
Correct.
And Lillooet is
a little bit further away. It's one of the hot spots of the province, and it's about a 5-hour drive from Prince George. I still have family there.
Yeah.
It's an amazing little community. I love it. Mayor Hall also goes to Lillooet quite often too, so we swap stories.
How come
he has friends there? He has friends there,
right.
So I have family there, and actually Kevin and I were just there earlier this year. And boy, things have changed there, John.
It changed a lot. And Kevin is?
My husband.
Your husband. And, so then you want to Giscombe. And now for those guests that are watching us from far and wide, Giscombe is very close to Prince George.
It is.
A bit of a lumber town, east of Prince George.
Correct.
How far east?
Oh my gosh, it was maybe, well, I was actually lived in Willow River. My dad ran a gas station in Willow River.
That is slightly north of Prince George.
Yeah, and we would get on the school bus every morning when it was still dark, of course, and take the school bus out to Giscombe Elementary. That school has been torn down since then, but it was a thriving little community at the time. And,
so how old were you when you were in Giscombe?
That was grade 1 and 2. And skipped kindergarten, went right to grade 1 and 2 there. I think I've been to like 6 schools in 12 years.
Right.
6 or 7.
So then you went to high school.
Yeah, by the time I got to high school, I actually went to Ron Brent, which was Connaught Elementary. Ron Brent was actually my grade 4 teacher.
Is that in the
That's in
Millwright
the Connaught
edition?
Mm-hmm, the Connaught area. And went to Sacred Heart Elementary.
Right.
And then to the Catholic High School for a few years. Now is O'Grady High.
Okay.
And that was interesting. That was grade 8 and 9. And then grade 10, 11, and 12 was out to Kelly Road.
Kelly Road.
Yeah.
And then what did you do after that?
After that, I met my husband. I met Kevin in the halls of KRSS in grade 10. So Kevin and I have actually been friends since I was 15, and I'm 55 now.
Right.
And it'll be our 33rd wedding anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah, so Kevin's family moved across the country to Bear Lake, and I'm grateful that they did. They came out for work in the pulp mill. A lot of his family, his parents and his uncles, all came out to Prince George from Toronto area to work in the forest industry. Yeah,
so Bear Lake again reminds me of a forest, small community about 45 miles north of, or 50 kilometers north of Prince George.
Yeah, 50 minutes.
Yeah, had a couple of sawmills.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the industry there was logging or lumber manufacturing related, right?
Absolutely. There's a lot of jobs. It was a very thriving community.
Yes.
At one time. Definitely the lumber industry has shaped our neck of the woods in the province, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And then, so you were there for a period, and then, so then you went to Giscombe.
Yeah, so from, Giscombe Elementary when I was really young, like grade 1 and 2, and living out on Willow River. And that was back in the day, John, when literally we did all the things that you're not supposed to. We jumped off the bridge into the river. We played on the railroad tracks. We would, leave in the morning and didn't come home until you knew roughly the Flintstones were on.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So
yeah,
it was just a different time and a great community to grow up as a kid.
Yeah, no doubt. And but small, right? Small community.
Oh, yeah.
You knew everybody in town, and
everybody knew everybody. There's 2 channels. And gosh, I'm sounding like my grandpa now. Back in the day, there was only 2 channels, and there was a party line phone.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, very, very normal then, right?
It was.
Yeah, because
absolutely.
all kinds of people on the same line. And
yeah, indeed. Yeah, it was interesting. It was great. Great place to grow up small. I think it would be problematic if I was still there as a teenager.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? But by then, my folks had bought their first house in the Miller Addition, and that tied me to Ron Brent and Sacred Heart. And then they moved out to the Heart. And I spent the majority of my life out there.
And so where in the Miller Addition?
Hemlock Street.
Hemlock. I had a place for 20 years on Gorse.
Oh my gosh. So my parents' first home was on Hemlock. Now that we're off the Heart Highway, Kevin and I have owned a house on Gorse for about 15 years now.
Okay.
So I can actually see my old house.
So you live on Gorse now?
Yeah.
In Bits Block?
It's 1883.
Closer to the park.
Correct.
Yeah, so I was closer to Patricia.
You were at the other end.
Correct.
So my mom lives in a suite in our home, and we go out walking often in our neighborhood.
Perfect.
And the owners of my old house on Hemlock Street let us in to see our old house.
Nice, eh?
That was so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much history, because if you look at the Miller Addition, and we can virtually see it from here if you looked out that way, because you are about half a dozen blocks away from your house as you sit here on the couch.
Exactly.
And so the house that we lived in bought it in 1972 for about $30,000. It was built in 1914.
Oh my gosh.
That was, I think the city was incorporated in 1914 or 18?
No, it was 1915. The city was incorporated.
1915.
Yeah.
So there are 1, 2, 3 houses in the row. We had the middle one, bought in 1972, and the other one next to it was the first hospital. Can you imagine?
Yes.
All 3 of them look similar to that. So the reason that I'm kind of looking at that is as we are sitting here in Prince George, and especially for those people either in other parts of Canada or from around the world, Canada is so young as a country.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And then looking at Prince George, it was incorporated in 1914 or 15.
Yeah.
And a very young city, and then very much a boom city. And,
oh yes.
And when I came here in 1965, and we are sitting here at a location that looks out at George Street, and then during that period when it was the people that came to Prince George, the question was usually, when did you get here and when are you leaving? And it was a boom town to make money, and then you leave again.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't, and you didn't for sure.
And here we are. What happened after that? After now, you're in. You got married to Kevin, and we did. We got married in after high school, went to college.
Yeah.
And
so where did you go to college?
To the College of New Caledonia.
Okay, to study what?
And I wanted to be a teacher.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a teacher, John, and then But at that time, it was, you could do 2 years at the college level and then do teacher training, which was 10 months.
Okay.
So, and by this time we had a family. So our kids were tweens.
How many kids have you got?
We have 3.
3?
So,
what are the names?
Oh, Melissa, Michelle, and Mike.
Okay, and they are all in the region too?
They are. Both of our girls are married also. They married farm kids.
Yeah.
And one from Lacasse out in Salmon Valley, and Devereaux's out at Reed Lake. And so both our daughters are married. Our son has his own company. He travels all over the north. He is a Millwright.
Also in Prince George?
That is correct, yeah.
What's the company's name, just out of curiosity?
Oh, yeah, he has, oh my gosh, he's going to be so mad if I can't remember. Highlander Millwright Services.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right in touch with our Celtic roots as a McConnachie. He's got the big coat of arms on the side of his tool truck.
I like it.
I do too. So he's in Edson right now, I think.
Yeah.
So he travels all over the place.
Okay, so I interrupt you a little bit.
No worries at all. So,
you wanted to college and you got your teachers.
No, I never finished it. I went to college, took a few courses, got married, thought I would go back and finish to become a teacher. Yeah. As we had kids.
You would have been a great teacher.
I think I would have. I loved it. I really think so too.
Because you're so outgoing, right?
Well, and I have a passion for young people.
Exactly.
I really do.
You would have been a natural.
I think they're really nifty humans.
Yeah.
When they're kind of at that what you would define as a difficult age, I think they're the coolest.
Exactly.
Humans. They are. They don't just take status quo. Yeah. They do push back against the status quo, and they ask questions, and they don't just accept things because that's the way it's always been.
Exactly.
I like humans like that.
Yeah.
So I find too soon we get too complacent, and maybe we're just tired. I don't know, and you just seem to be a little bit more accepting of things, and that's the way it is. And but I love that age of when people they ask questions. Why?
So you didn't go in that direction. So what did you do then?
Well, so one of my first jobs...
You got married?
I did. I got married and had my own family. And, I ran a daycare. So I did that instead, John. So I was so fortunate. So instead of R3, I had 7 or 8 every day. Yeah. And what a fun couple of years that was. Yeah. And those kids we're still friends with to this day. Yeah. And the moms were still really good friends. And I've watched them get married and have their own families now. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Right? How lucky. Yeah. Not everybody gets that. And then one of my first jobs, kind of in the management realm, like entry level, was I managed Bubba Baloo's when it was still open. And
that was in Park Center?
Yeah, it was in Park Hill Center. Yeah. And it was a big family entertainment center.
I remember that. That was for kids to go, right?
Oh, it was so much fun. So I worked with about 50 different teenagers. Mostly from Kelly Road or from DP Todd. And there again, I think I was able to get my enjoyment. If I couldn't teach, I got paid to still work with a whole lot of young people. Yeah. And there again, I've watched them grow, get married. I've been invited to baby showers.
How long did you have that?
That was only a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was tough. It was a lot of fun, John.
So what happened after that?
After that, I went and I might be getting confused. Actually, I think, I managed the Hubble Homestead for a couple of years.
Homesteaders Meet?
No, sorry, the Hubble Homestead. It's
the Hubble Homestead.
The heritage site.
Okay. Yeah. A very historic place.
Yeah, totally.
Northeast of Prince George?
That is correct. Yeah, it's down Mitchell Road, just on your way between Prince George and Bear Lake. Yeah,
and what was unique about it? Because that's, again, is part of the history of the Prince George region. And
it is the oldest house in situ in our region. So the Hubble House is the oldest house that is in its original place.
So when was it built?
In northern BC. I believe that, oh no, now you're testing me. I thought, why do I think
Approximately.
1912, around then? Kind of around the same age as the first fair.
Yeah.
1912.
Yeah.
Ish.
So again, an area that for visitors coming, you see, the reason that I kind of like to point those things out, because this is such an amazing place to visit.
Oh, it is.
You know, the Prince George region. Not only do we have Prince George, about 80,000 people with all the amenities that you can possibly think of, and then we have thousands of lakes all around us, and this absolute unbelievable nature that we have here. You can see bears, you can see moose. One of the fellows that is on my team showed me caribou from just north of here, McLeod Lake, a herd of caribou, 100, just all in the wild. All of that happens here.
I think our region, is it not, John, like from Hubble Homestead up north, west, is like the largest grizzly bear population on planet Earth.
Can you imagine that?
Yes, I can. Yes, because they used to stroll through the site every now and then. A cinnamon bear mama and her cubs would just walk across while we're having a staff barbecue. And it was like, oh my gosh, I love this job.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
Yeah, and then, you know, so all of that all around us, not only to visit, but to live and to work in this area is just absolutely amazing. And then the other thing that we have south of us, Bargerfield, and an amazing history beyond that, where the gold fields were in...
the good old gold rush days, from California to Victoria, up to Barkerville, and up to Hubble Homestead area, all in search of gold, and then over the Giscombe Portage Trail and all the way up to the Yukon.
And which again, being in the middle of the province, that's probably to the Yukon border. For those that are not familiar with BC, that's another 800 kilometer. But you know, so we have a big province, but it is absolutely amazing and beautiful.
It is.
So now somewhere along the line you became political.
Well, I was going to say, I think formally political, perhaps. I think we all should be a little bit political.
Yeah.
And people use politics like it's a bad word.
Yeah.
But it's not really.
No.
It really is, by, definition and loosely, is it's about a small group of people making decisions for the betterment of a larger group.
Correct.
So I've always thought that part is really important, John, in all of, because let's face it, whether you're in your own family, you're making decisions for a larger group. If you're in a place of employment, like myself, whether it be the home builders or working at the exhibition, I'm making decisions for a larger group.
But you always have been active in the community,
yes,
right? In many areas, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think that is... it's a responsibility of being a citizen.
You take that as part of being part of a community, is being involved proactively, right?
Absolutely, to the best of your ability.
Yeah,
right? We all have limitations, and life comes at you fast, and whether you're raising families, working full-time.
Yeah.
But even if you can't get out there and whip up a whole exhibition, it's being aware and being involved, being educated, knowing who's making decisions for you is really important.
Yeah. Now, you're also executive director of the Home Builders Association of Northern British Columbia?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have the best job.
How big is that region?
Our region is all the way from like Williams Lake up and over to you either hit the Alberta border or fall in the water.
Yeah.
All the way.
So from Prince Rupert all the way to, it's
at gigantic.
Least at more than half of the province.
It is, yeah. If you look at it.
By size.
Our size, geographically, we are the largest local of the Canadian home builders, of the 8 locals in the province.
How long have you been involved in that?
You know what, I was thinking about this the other day, and I cannot believe, I think I'm in my 9th year. This is the longest I've ever been at any job.
Yeah.
Because I still don't know everything. It is incredible. It's really a lot of fun.
So So that then being said, what's happening. It appears to me like obviously we are also developers as the Brink Group, among lumber and some of the other things that in warehousing and logistics, but we actively involved in the building, developing and building. What's happening in northern British Columbia and Prince George in the building. House prices are rising, and
they are, John. It's really quite alarming, actually. It is concerning, the cost of it's fine if you're in one, because to many people your home is your security and part of your whole financial, perhaps your retirement equation. But for next generations trying to get into housing, it's tough, right, John? It really is.
Yeah,
it's not easy.
Yeah.
So, but it's been very busy.
Yeah.
Prince George in particular, construction has been incredible.
Yeah.
Almost, I think it was just this year in permits, just over 400 permits, over $180 million.
Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's just between now and October, or January to October.
And probably next year will look the same.
Yeah, so next year is looking promising.
Yeah.
It's looking busy. So COVID has thrown some wrenches, as you know, as a developer and builder.
Yeah.
Supply chain issues, staffing issues, cost increases. Remember lumber, where seriously I was just going to retire and sell toothpicks because I would have made more money that way. So we've come and gone through that. Folks looking just to even get bathtubs in for multifamily, it's been tough.
Yeah.
There's always challenges, but I think with this industry, I look at folks like you, builders and developers, very intrepid, some of the hardest working people I know, right? A lot like farmers in one way, the eternal optimists, hardworking, 7 days a week, 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
And, like next year, it's just going to be better.
Yeah.
Right? And just that ability to pivot when necessary.
Yeah.
It's really incredible.
Yeah, and the other thing it's exciting is that the developments of so much has changed on the building side in terms of the houses that are being built are at equal levels than anywhere else in the province that you can imagine. The quality of building and the developments are,
Oh yeah, they are. Well, just with environmental mandates, with the BC Energy Step Code, for instance, houses now our whole goal is just to build more efficient, more comfortable, cleaner on the environment and indoor air quality, comfy, cozy, not those cold spots or those big airy spots that you would have in older housing stock. Just a whole house as a system, all the way up to perhaps like a net zero, where it's 80% more efficient than it was before. And
amazing
solar energy rather to fill in that other 20%.
Yeah.
So it's a whole all these little systems of houses that are using the energy that they produce. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So your organization, the Northern Interior Home Builders Association, what do they do for our general public that are watching? What are they involved in, other than the obvious, So.
Yeah, well, I think probably the more obvious parts is it's an association, membership driven, and it exists really to be the voice of the residential construction industry.
Right.
Regionally, provincially, nationally.
Right.
And that's to make sure that our members, people that are in the field, have someone to speak for them.
Right.
Make sure we work with lawmakers and we're there to make sure that silly ideas don't end up meeting you out in the field.
Right.
Right. And also we have a mandate towards the general public and homeowners.
Yeah.
Because we believe that everybody has a right to good housing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And we advocate for housing affordability.
Yeah. And making sure that builders are credible, right? So
absolutely.
And accountable, right?
Yeah, that's one of the benefits I think that has turned out for some families, when they have had an issue with the builder, they'll phone me, and if they're a member or if they're not a member, there's really nothing I can do, John, because it ends up being a legal matter in the end.
Yeah.
And but sometimes, just sometimes, we've been able to step in as a intermediate, if you will, between the homeowner and the builder.
It create the linkage.
Yeah,
right?
and just kind of bring in some peers to that builder to kind of try to work it out. Nobody wants to have to. Nobody wins when you end up having to duke it out in court.
No.
So if it's between the homeowner and the builder, and just finding a way to resolve, and we've been very successful with that. So it's good.
So how do you see the other areas of the province, meaning your region? So we see the Prince George area, Williams Lake to a certain extent, Quesnel, Mackenzie, Fort St. James, and all the way up to Fort Nelson, Fort St. John.
How do I see it? Like in terms of economy?
Right.
It's good. Prince George is. We're very fortunate that we have more of a diverse economy.
Correct.
We're still very dependent on forestry, of course.
Right.
So it has, while Prince George has been booming, some of our members, perhaps like in the Peace area, Fort St. John, Dawson Creek, have not been as busy. They're more tied to that cyclical oil and gas industry more so. And then out west has been crazy.
Yeah.
Where folks can't find a place to rent and terrace.
Yeah.
Right, so it's a little bit different depending. I mean, as you say, it's a big chunk of land.
Yeah.
So it's different in all
Same
areas.
as Prince Rupert and Kitimat and.
Yeah, they're so busy.
Yeah,
they've been very busy there. So it just depends on what economic activity.
Yeah.
How close to work camps and mines that they are all situated.
Yeah. Do you travel a lot then, Terri?
I did. When we could, not as much as I should, but that definitely is on the radar for the future. I've had the opportunity to get to Fort St. John and Dawson Creek, meet members there, and just the good thing is that our board is situated so that we have representation from all the areas.
Yeah.
So our current board chair lives and works in Vanderhoof. Our past president lives and works in Quesnel.
Yeah.
Our next president lives and works in Fort St. John.
Right.
So it's great. So once a month they bring all that knowledge to the table so that we know what's going on. So so that's helpful.
Yeah.
Now
the other part of your political involvement is you're on City of Prince George Council.
Yeah.
How did that all happen?
You know what? I was. People ask me, why did you run for council? And I just say, out of spite.
Yeah.
It wasn't really anything that's great, grandiose. It wasn't 100%. I guess I thought at that time in 2014, after a winter with really abysmal snow removal, and I saw things that I didn't like, and I thought I can either just complain in the coffee shops with everybody else, or I could
step up to the plate.
Just step up to the plate,
and
be the change that I wanted to see, or play a role in that. And so
you're
I
now
did.
in your second term?
Yes.
Yeah,
and I can't believe it. We're sliding into home of that second term is winding up. We've got an election in 2022 again already.
And when is that in 22, in November?
I believe, oh my gosh, I should know this. I've kind of just blocked it out for now. It's October, November, John. You're right.
Yeah.
It's in one of those months.
So when you decided in 2014 that you would be going into politics, that meant you had to have a campaign, and you had to go out there and give all these presentations and forums and was it highly contested? Was it a bit of a battle?
There was oh my God, if I remember correctly, there's almost 30 people running. It was a big, there's a whole lot of us that would just kind of go around to every single, as you say, the different events and debates and whatnot. So we kind of got friendly after a while. You know, you keep showing up, seeing the same person.
Well, exactly.
Some of the other folks, I could actually recite their stump speech, right?
Yeah.
Because we all listened to each other. Yeah, so in the end, I was able to just slide in above that with all my friends and family on the election night, and the check mark went beside my name, and I think my mom was the happiest. So she thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had to do your first term and then do it again in 2018, or?
Yeah, oh my gosh. Yeah, so they're 4-year terms.
Yeah.
Which I think are great.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the best the best thing that they ever did was to make that change. Yeah. So to go from 3 to 4 years, you actually get more done.
Yeah. So and then you had another campaign in the
2018, I guess it would have been.
Yeah.
It
was 18. Yeah.
2014 and then 2018. Yeah.
And how did it go?
It was good. That was a crazy campaign, though, John. That was nuts. I had a housing awards at work and all kinds of different things going on. So it was really, really busy. I found 2018 very stressful. Not gonna lie.
2018 stressful?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it really
why?
was. It was. Just too
Lots
much.
of
I
people
spread
running,
too thin. There was a lot of people running again. Yeah, there was a whole group of us.
So how it works is, how many councillors on the city hall?
There's 9, including the mayor.
And so 8 of the councillors,
Correct.
And then then the top ones elected will become.
Yeah, there's that benchmark. So there's
Yeah.
like 28, 29 names, and you got to just hope that you're within the top
8
section.
or 9.
That is correct.
And
yeah.
then the mayor is contested again as well, right?
Yeah, the mayor runs his or her own race.
Yeah.
So against anybody else.
And then the other 8 are the top 8 will be councillors.
That is correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just kind of watch and just hope that your name rises above that line.
Yeah.
And so no, it has been an amazing learning curve.
So during the period that you have been on city council, a lot happened in terms of the Prince George city has developed, has grown. If we could look behind us now,
insane.
it's already dark, but we see the swimming pool, we see all those things that have been built in Prince George, went through one of the most aggressive growth periods in virtually all the years that I've been here.
You and me both, John. It has been absolutely incredible.
In developing infrastructure.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously, we have the university, the College of New Caledonia, and then we are changing more of the other infrastructure, roads and all of those kind of things, and then the swimming pool, the new swimming pool, which is an amazing structure. But at the same time, we had a lot of other development, building houses, and more new people come in, new jobs have been created. And then the other thing that I find amazing, and so many hotels, new hotels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's insane.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, 2 more just downtown, right?
Yeah,
Alone.
Yeah. And all seem to, even during COVID, although a bit of a challenge, but now I look at it and everything is full. And
yeah, it's incredible. This has definitely been an unprecedented time of construction.
Period. And then, the way I kind of look at it, Terri, is, that I'm a great believer in that Prince George has amazing potential, because it is the natural center of the province, but also in terms of from the road perspective, the railroad, the air, and we are a natural center, for central British Columbia.
Absolutely.
And then the other thing that has been amazing during your period is how Prince George stepped up to the plate during the forest fire, or the fires that we had, 17, 18, where all of a sudden the whole area pulled together when so many people had to vacate their homes in their regions, and Prince George opened their doors and and showed real leadership.
Actually, you know what? Now that you kind of mention that, I'm just kind of pondering. I don't know. In 7 years that I've served, we've had a pandemic, 2 forest fires,
Yeah.
right, and unprecedented growth.
Yeah.
There's been a lot going on.
It is the most active period that I've seen in all this time that I lived here since 1965, other than the period where there was a boom in the mid-60s, all the sawmills came in and the pulp mills and all the other things. And
Yeah.
This time in the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years, all these other things all happen at the same time. COVID, obviously the major fires during the summers of 17,
Yeah, we
18.
went from 2017 when, almost all of Williams Lake kind of snuggled in with us.
Exactly.
And then the following year, to a smaller extent, but no less impactful for the people that were involved, that was out west.
Exactly.
And then, boom, just because we got bored for a minute, we
Yeah.
decided to participate in a global pandemic
Yeah.
for the last couple of years, and it really has changed. Like any of the plans that we had or anything that we had hoped to achieve for our city in the last few years has changed to keeping us safe and guarding our city and making wise decisions in the face of what we have been dealing with.
Yeah, and that considering that it was in such a massive change, some because of circumstances beyond our control. There was the epidemic and the fires that happened, and then at the same time the city is changing, with major infrastructure pieces, and then obviously other things that are happening right now, forest industry in transition. Where a lot of the sawmills that we relied on have shut down, and I still am a great believer in the future of the forest industry, but it will look different.
Yes.
So it's an industry in transition where we will see a smaller industry, but a lot more value added.
Well, it's already so different, John. I mean, just going into when Kevin and I were first together, and that was back in the day when you could walk into a sawmill or the pulp mill with your resume on a Friday and start on Monday.
Or Friday afternoon.
Or Friday afternoon, right? And, Kevin has done all the work. He used to, pull off the green chain, and he would paint and strap end loads, and he could support our family.
Yeah.
On that wage.
Yeah.
Right? And then, those were the great jobs. And boy, there were so many.
Yeah.
And now there's still lots of opportunity. It just looks different.
Yeah, it's an industry in transition. We are very, very fortunate in British Columbia and in the interior, but throughout all of British Columbia. It's such an amazing province and such an amazing country. I do a lot of flying, where I transit between here and Victoria or Vancouver, and I always sit at the window, looking out the window. I say, it's paradise.
It is.
It simply doesn't get any better.
It is. I agree with you.
And then I look at Prince George in particular. I call it the capital of northern capital of British Columbia. Is that, and sometimes I remind my friends down south that probably 75% of the gross domestic product of the province comes from northern BC. Just in case, that's just making sure that nobody forgets that.
In case they forget.
But Prince George has such a great future, such an amazing place for growth, that we are just on the threshold of that, seeing it expanding northern British Columbia. And hence a lot of people are looking at this region, and there is no better place with the university, the college, all the other infrastructure.
And the healthcare that is here.
all of that, there is no better place to raise a family than in
Nope, there's
northern
not.
BC.
And you
in
can
Prince
fly
George.
and be in Vancouver.
Yes.
If you would like, for a weekend. You could be there in an hour. You could go right to Victoria, go straight to the island, go straight to Calgary. You can go straight to Mexico.
Exactly.
So-
And so it is becoming more and more a capital city. And as it develops and the infrastructure develops, I think good leadership in City Hall has been extremely important to all of that throughout. And and although lots of pressure and lots of things happening all at the same time, the key for us to have the infrastructure.
I agree.
And between the university and the colleges, we see more and more people that we rely on as a company. And talking as the Brink group of companies, we employ close to 400 people, but we're looking always for more people, and especially the ones that are being trained here.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've been in particular very proactive working with the college, but also with the university. But the college is, getting more of training for the jobs that we have in the future, the new jobs or the existing jobs, the new technology and trade and technology programs that are very, very important.
That is important to do because we need to educate for the jobs that are there. It would be like training blacksmiths.
Exactly.
Right? There's no future for that. So no, you're very right. I'm grateful for the advocacy that you do on that front.
And so what we like to see is, and I've been very active with the college on it to build a technology center here right next to the College of New Caledonia to look at the new jobs that we need, not only the existing ones, but also the new ones that for a changing industry, not only the forest industry, but industry in a general sense. That we have the trades and the skill sets that we require. It's not the natural resources. We have those. It's not the location. It's not the entrepreneurship. It's not the capital. The skilled workforce is the key that will attract capital for new industry.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is important.
Now, looking at yourself and saying, you've had a few challenges physically. You want to share those with us?
Oh yeah, no worries whatsoever, John. Because I think it's important to talk about things like cancer. Because look, our premier is just announced that he is going through treatment for cancer. I did myself earlier this year for cervical cancer, and cancer is very indiscriminate.
Yeah.
Right on where it's going to pop up, and it's a real jerk. But the good news is we live in the best province.
Yeah.
For cancer treatment. We have a center here in Prince George, Kelowna, Vancouver, and on the island, and we live in the best country.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine, John. I am grateful. I was always a very grateful person. It's just even ramped up even more so.
Yeah.
I'm grateful every night when I go to bed and every morning when I wake up, ready to start the day, because it didn't cost me a cent, John.
Yeah. Amazing.
And it's not that all my treatment or anybody's cancer treatment is free. It's my fellow Canadians had my back.
Yeah.
And it is true. I'd always had that attitude, whether it's somebody in Fort St. John that needs a bypass, or a young person in in Newfoundland that requires, or somebody out in Vancouver on the island that needs treatment. As a Canadian, I don't want anybody to have the hardship of finances, or to have to lose their house, or to worry about how am I going to pay for this.
Yeah.
And as Canadians, thank goodness I live in a country where people agree with me from that perspective, because, so.
There's many other places where that is not the case.
Right.
United States comes to mind, but there are other places as well.
I agree.
Where virtually any of that, everything would be at risk for you if you were living in some of the other places.
Oh my gosh, right? And I know when I came out of a radiation appointment once, and I was very lucky that I felt really great right up until the last week. So thank goodness it was the last week. And it's tough, but it's not something that 7 weeks for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Right. That it was so worth it, and without the support of my husband and my family and my employer, this entire city was amazing, John.
Yeah.
And so I had an opportunity to meet other cancer survivors, people who have gone through treatment. Now I take it upon myself now I'm going to try to be that person that other people were for me.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know how much I needed it or how much it mattered until it happened to me.
Yeah.
So just like you don't know what losing a parent is like until, my dad passed away.
Yeah.
At 57. So now when my friends were starting to lose their dads, I was able to be a better friend and a better advocate.
Yeah.
When our daughter lost our granddaughter, our first grandchild.
Yeah.
Down at BC Women's Hospital. She was stillborn. Now I know what that is like. And so I'm there to support other families that go through that.
Yeah.
And so I guess my point of this is just sharpens your edges a little bit.
Yeah.
I think when you go through these things.
Yeah.
And when I had started to tell the story how at the cancer clinic here, I came out and I said good morning to what looked like a mom and daughter, and she looked terrified. She had that look in her eyes that I had at the beginning, where you just don't know what the heck am I in for here. And I said good morning, and she goes, "You're a city councilor, aren't you?"
Yeah.
And I said, "I am." And she goes, "But you have cancer?" And I said, "I do."
Yeah.
I said, "I'm halfway through my treatment."
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, silly me." Well, of course. She goes, "You're just a human being. Of course you could get cancer." And I said,
sure.
"It happens to anybody."
Yeah.
I said, "And I'm plowing through, and so are you."
Yeah.
Right? And
Shoots.
yeah, you just don't realize it.
Yeah.
You think it's this thing that only it can happen to anybody.
Yeah. Not me.
Yeah, but so I guess I'm just really, really super grateful, John.
Yeah. And that kind of makes you appreciate also, and you already did, but I've been lucky enough that we have been quite involved in fundraising for the cancer clinic and made a couple of tours through there, and every time I go through it, I cannot believe what they do there. Because our cancer clinic, and you appreciate it because you're close to it, is that some of the research that they are doing is at a world-class level.
Yes.
That, this cancer clinic in Prince George developing processes, procedures that are used at the world level.
It's really astonishing.
Unbelievable.
I mean, nobody wants to get cancer to get into that system, but I'll tell you, if you do, you're going to be okay. You have a much better chance now than you ever have at any given time.
No question
point
about
in
that.
time.
Yeah.
Because of the advances.
Exactly.
Especially, for the cancer I have, it will be eradicated because there is a vaccine for it.
Yeah.
One of them is Gardasil. And all kids, boys and girls, grades 6, 7, are being vaccinated.
Is that right? Eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yes. So there is a vaccine against the cancer that I'm working through.
Right.
And which seems kind of poignant to me when we're dealing with vaccinations and COVID and all those kinds of things. So vaccinations can help.
Oh, absolutely.
There's no doubt they save lives.
Yeah, I agree with you. Know. How are you doing now?
I'm doing phenomenal. I'm doing really, really well.
Yeah.
It's coming up to 1 year.
Yeah.
And so I get checked like every 90 days. And because they caught it early enough, my prognosis is very favorable.
Yeah.
So it's a bump in the road. It's a wake-up call.
Yeah.
I tell women, take care of yourselves.
Yeah.
I have a thing on my mirror now, John, that says if you don't take time for your good health, if you don't take the time to monitor your health, you will be forced to take time out to deal with your illness.
Yeah.
So that reminds me that health is wealth, and it's the number one thing to take care of, and you just can't get Too busy that you don't take
No.
care of things that you need to take care of.
There is nothing more important than health.
100%.
Yeah, and the earlier we realize that, the better. And then, if something happens, as you well know, the sooner we can do something about being proactive, the better.
Absolutely.
And because life is precious, so.
Oh, indeed.
And we go do this and do that and change this and change the whole world, and all of a sudden, no.
Yeah, I was always too busy
Yeah.
to take care of it. Well, boy, oh boy.
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time dealing with it now. So,
Yeah.
but I met so many. It is a life changer. Of course, I'm not the first, and unfortunately, I'm not going to be the last.
No.
But the number of other women that I have met in the system, oh wow, such strong people.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I think if anything, I always was a little bit not tolerant of just complaining.
Yeah.
Now I got zero.
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah.
Right? It's help being proactive, being responsible.
Now I look at you, you're still vibrant lady, beautiful lady.
Oh, thank you.
You're smart, you have passion and all those things. So where do you go from here? Are you going to stay involved in you like city council? Or
I do. I love city council.
Yeah.
It is, you couldn't pay for the education that I've received on city
Yeah.
council, and the people and the opportunities.
Now the other thing, I don't want to put you on the spot, but are you going to run for mayor?
You know what? I'm leaving my options open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because
absolutely.
I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you.
No, please ask. Absolutely.
Because I see you being very active on city council. You've been very proactive in all the things. Prince George has gone through an amazing period of change, and I believe there is a lot more to come. That will happen as Prince George. I sometimes say respectfully that, and I've always believed that Prince George will be successful not in spite of the politicians that will be successful. I'm not saying that they are doing the wrong thing, but we have such an abundance of resources here close to us, living in the province of British Columbia, in the middle Prince George, with the roads, the railroads, the air, and such a natural location. And then what I've seen in the last number of years, in particular, and the fires come to mind, where Prince George really took on a leadership role in the region, and I see that now happening, with mayor and council being much more active, and you are being very active, especially as executive director of the northern region for the building supply. Puts you in touch with all those regions, and I believe that Prince George, just because of where it is and all the infrastructure that we already have, is a natural leader for being the capital of northern British Columbia. And
John, you're preaching, you're singing to the choir. This is one of the best cities you could possibly live in.
Yes.
And the people are what make the difference.
Yes.
Don't you find it is literally incredible? Not every other city would take an entire other town into its fold.
No.
And and
this was not something that was predicted in advance.
Gosh.
No, all of a sudden it was step up to the plate now because we need you now, and it happened.
No, I serve with some really, really great people, and live with phenomenal people that step up to the plate time and time again. This is a city, whether it's the 2015 Canada Games or whether it's the 2017 wildfires.
Exactly.
Everybody steps up. It is literally astonishing. It's humbling, and other communities could really take note.
Yes. And the next thing that I like to see is the Center of Excellence to the College of New Caledonia, something not unsimilar to BCIT, where we have, where we can work with First Nations and, with the communities around us and saying, let's build something in Northern BC that develops the skill sets for an emerging, changing economy, that we can develop the skill sets that we need, that are retiring, that we don't have available, and then also the ones for new industries that will come in, that includes technology, robotics, and all the other things. There is nothing in the world that we cannot do, but we must get a trained workforce, and the Center of Excellence is critical for that. And I'm reminded virtue of that all the time, like, and you were there at the time as well, is that if I think back on the University of Northern British Columbia, it was a battle. I was a writing president then of that writing, and we fought the battle to get this university as a freestanding university. And and you know how politics can become.
I think it was a $5 membership or something. Wasn't it at the time? I bought
But so a lot of people together. I think there were thousands of them that bought the $5 ticket. But not only that, we put the pressure on Victoria to allocate the funds here for a freestanding university in Northern British Columbia. It was the best thing that we ever did in Northern BC, and and now I look around. The other day, we had a meeting around our boardroom table and in our company, looking kind of forward. And of the 6 or 7 people that were there, every single one of them, was a alumni of the University of Northern British Columbia, including me. I have an honorary doctorate.
I saw that. Congratulations! Wow,
it was quite an honor. But the point that I'm making is that a lot of those people that otherwise may have gone other places now staying here because there is a good future in British Columbia, and in Northern British Columbia, and in particular in the Prince George region.
Oh, I agree, and our healthcare here also. And look at the fight to get a hospice, the fight to get a cancer center. Remember the what year was the rally when Prince George filled the CN Center with the healthcare crisis we had for doctors?
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
It was thrown together in 72 hours, and all of a sudden it was full to the rafters.
Exactly.
Saying, pay attention to us up here.
Yeah, and that was a major
Holy man.
Yeah, what a turn now.
Not every city, town can pull that off.
No.
John, but Prince George did.
But Prince George can and will, and that's what Prince George is all about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe the location, the geography alone has made us kind of like, we have that pioneer spirit still, because we're 10 hours away in any direction from another large center. We've had to really learn to really rely within ourselves to pull together to make great things happen. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like it really is it's astonishing.
But if you look back, Terry, in the last 50 years, really, that puts us back, in the mid-60s. Prince George then was a boom town, and all of Prince George changed, and people came in from far and wide, and then it started to become a community, and through a lot of struggles and hard things had to happen, and people pulled together. Good examples are the ones that you gave, but that's how it has been for Prince George, and I think that's what makes it what it is. Yeah. And it lays the base for what can happen from here on in, because I firmly believe that 20, 30 years from now, you will see Prince George a couple of 100,000 people. There's no question about that, in my mind.
But with all the, there are, with such rapid growth in such a short amount of time, there's been some pinch points too, right? There's always growing pains, and we have other infrastructure that needs to keep up to the new neighborhoods, but that is just part of growth.
That is all part of it, and, so But and you've been a big part of it, over your 2 terms in council, and I like to see you being in there and maybe more beyond that. So Terri, thank you for being my guest.
Thank you so much, John.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.